Qwen app sweeps Silicon Valley, challenges ChatGPT head-on. The AI throne of Silicon Valley has been usurped by a Chinese company. This is not a sci-fi plot, but the most explosive reality in the global tech world today, November 17th. While OpenAI was still celebrating the paid conversion rates of GPT 5.1, the Qwen bomb dropped by Alibaba forced San Francisco's venture capital circles to rewrite their pitch decks overnight. For the past 3 years, Silicon Valley giants always claimed that China's AI only copies homework. Yet now, their own backyard is filled with the presence of Alibaba's Qwen models. The key to all this lies in Qwen's super brain. If you compare the ChatGPT model to a rote-learning top student who relies on massive data to produce answers, Alibaba's Qwen 3 is the genius who can extrapolate and innovate. Its open-source nature is like handing a key to global developers. They no longer need to beg OpenAI for API permissions. They can take it, modify it, and use it immediately. This is comparable to Apple suddenly opening up the iOS system, allowing Samsung and Huawei to install their core functionalities directly. What's even more disruptive is how Qwen has turned the chatbot into a personal executive assistant. While ChatGPT is still debating with you on how to write a travel plan, Qwen can already help you directly book flights, reserve hotels, and even recommend local takeout based on your itinerary. Just last week, the CEO of Airbnb in the US publicly complained, "We weren't looking to change models, but Qwen is 3x faster than OpenAI, and it's free." Even Nvidia's Jensen Huang admitted, 7 out of 10 startups in Silicon Valley are now using Qwen. Next, let's dissect the truth of this AI war. How did Alibaba manage to panic Silicon Valley? Is Qwen's free strategy a loss leader? And what changes will this competition ultimately bring to our lives? Triangular flag Silicon Valley's anxiety, a GPT panic update. Silicon Valley's anxiety is evident in OpenAI's emergency update. On November 12th, just 5 days before Qwen's official announcement, OpenAI abruptly released the GPT 5.1 series ahead of schedule. They urgently introduced features like personalized conversation style and adaptive reasoning, and even offered a safety net for paid users, the option to revert to the old version within 3 months. Recall that when GPT-5 was first released, OpenAI claimed it was flawless. But now they are actively conceding, an action that closely resembles a student cramming before an exam. In contrast, Alibaba's Qwen 3 Max model alone has pushed GPT-5 and Claude Opus 4 behind it, entering the global top 3. The more ruthless move? While others hide their flagship models behind annual fees, Alibaba directly open-sourced the entire Qwen series, with global developer downloads already exceeding 600 million. Analysis: OpenAI's emergency update exposes its innovation anxiety. As Alibaba uses open source to break the technical monopoly, the walled garden strategy of Silicon Valley giants fails. In the past, Silicon Valley relied on technical black boxes to charge a premium. Now, Qwen's free and open source approach is turning AI technology into a public infrastructure. This competition is not a zero-sum game, it's forcing the entire industry to accelerate. Just as Android's open source nature fueled the mobile internet ecosystem, Qwen's open sourcing will usher in an explosion of global AI applications, ultimately benefiting the average user. Briefcase: the killer feature, Qwen's execution power. Qwen's execution power is the real game changer. Here's a striking real-life case. A domestic investment manager used Qwen with the command: analyze the AI to see market trend in 2025. In 3 seconds, it generated a 10,000-word report. In 5 seconds, it automatically created a 28-page PPT, with all data sources clearly marked. Even more impressive, in a recent live investment competition, Qwen competed against global leaders like ChatGPT and Gemini, ultimately winning the championship with an 89% return rate. This wasn't theoretical. ChatGPT failed to manage basic risk control in the competition, with several recommended US stocks hitting landmines. In contrast, while OpenAI is still fretting over whether the conversation style is witty enough, Alibaba has already integrated AI deeply into daily scenarios. Ali's ecosystem tools like maps, takeout, and ticketing will soon connect with Qwen. Soon, if you say, "Help me arrange my weekend date," Qwen can complete the entire process, booking a restaurant, buying movie tickets, and planning the route. Analysis. The core value of AI has never been being good at chatting, but being able to solve problems. ChatGPT is stuck in the information provider stage, while Qwen has evolved into the task executor, representing a generational difference. Silicon Valley constantly emphasizes technical sophistication, but overlooks genuine user needs. No one wants to chat with an AI for half an hour. They just want to solve their problems with a single command. Qwen's logic is clear: use the top-tier technology to do the most practical things. This technology-to-application mindset is scarier than mere model benchmarks and points the way for global AI companies. AI detached from real-world scenarios, no matter how smart, is an empty shell. Globe showing Europe-Africa the global balance is shifting, the power of ecosystem. The global market balance is tipping toward China. Let's look at some revealing data. Although ChatGPT boasts 769 million monthly active users, the paid conversion rate is less than 5%. Most users stick to the basic free version. Qwen, upon launch, played the permanently free card and simultaneously rolled out an international version, targeting overseas users. More critically, the ecosystem advantage. Meta spent 2 years trying to integrate AI into its social software, only for users to reject it. Microsoft tied ChatGPT to Office but faced criticism for complex operations. Alibaba is different. Its ecosystem inherently has billions of users. Qwen is essentially giving a super assistant to these users. This natural traffic advantage is the envy of Silicon Valley giants. As Jensen Huang said, Qwen already dominates the majority of the global open-source model market, and that share is still growing. A saying is now circulating among Silicon Valley startups: if you don't use Qwen, it's hard to get funding. Analysis. The essence of AI competition is ecosystem competition, not a single technical skirmish. OpenAI relies on accumulating traffic from scratch, while Qwen can ride a rocket via the Alibaba ecosystem. This difference will only widen. McKinsey predicts the global AI2C market will be $1.3 trillion by 2030. Qwen's free strategy to capture users might seem like a loss now, but it's a land grab. Just as WeChat defeated SMS by being free, once users are accustomed to using Qwen for tasks, the subsequent commercial value is incalculable. Silicon Valley is panicked not by a single model being surpassed, but by a Chinese enterprise using the technology plus ecosystem combination to redefine the rules of the AI industry game. Scroll open source, Alibaba's moral high ground. The open source strategy places Alibaba on the moral high ground of global technology. Silicon Valley has always had a double standard. It's perfectly legitimate for them to pursue technological monopoly, but Chinese enterprises' open sourcing is labeled a technology export threat. The fact is, Silicon Valley companies are the biggest beneficiaries of Qwen's open sourcing. Airbnb used Qwen to optimize its listing recommendation algorithm, boosting efficiency by 40%. Cisco integrated Qwen into its development process, cutting code review time by half. In contrast, OpenAI still guards its core model tightly, withholding complete model access even from enterprise users. The comparison is stark. Alibaba uses open source to build a global AI community, while OpenAI uses a closed model to maintain technological hegemony. Now, even members of the US Congress are voicing concerns, questioning OpenAI's monopolistic behavior and calling for it to be broken up, much like AT&T was decades ago. Analysis. Technological progress has always relied on openness and collaboration, not closure and barriers. Qwen's open-source approach shatters the myth of Silicon Valley's technical monopoly, proving that Chinese companies can not only develop top-tier technology but also possess a global vision and sharing spirit. This strategy has won the support of global developers and made America's technology blockade strategy self-defeating. When Silicon Valley companies rely on Qwen, any so-called restrictions will only harm themselves. Alibaba's actions teach a lesson to global tech enterprises. True leadership is not treating technology as private property, but using it to drive the progress of the entire industry. Chart increasing market vote, the new leader. The market has cast its vote. As of November 17th, Alibaba's stock price rose by 0.84%. While seemingly modest, the Hang Seng Index was down for the day, with the average decline for tech stocks at 1.2%. This signals that investors grasp Qwen's value. Looking at the domestic market, Doubao's MAU is already 172 million, and DeepSeek has 145 million. Qwen, as a latecomer with the backing of the Alibaba ecosystem, has unimaginable room for future growth. In contrast, Silicon Valley AI companies are facing a growth bottleneck. ChatGPT's monthly active user growth rate has dropped from 200% last year to 15% now. Once the user novelty wears off, attrition is inevitable without practical features to sustain engagement. The emergence of Qwen is not just Alibaba's future battle. It marks a turning point for the Chinese AI industry, from following to leading. Analysis. Stock price is the barometer of enterprise value, and Alibaba's stock rising against the trend reflects the market's approval of the Qwen strategy. The AI industry has moved from land grabbing to the intensive cultivation phase. The users accumulated by ChatGPT through first-mover advantage are now being siphoned off by products that can solve actual problems. Qwen's late-mover advantage is clear. Standing on the shoulders of the Alibaba ecosystem, it bypasses the need to educate users from scratch and directly lands in real-world scenarios. The significance of this competition transcends the corporate level. It proves that Chinese tech enterprises now have the capability to define the rules in core technological arenas, and that is what makes Silicon Valley most nervous.